a train come. You don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All right, guys, it's Nichols Live time, and I am Larry Nichols. And today's going to be something I think we need to say it's significant and important. So I want to give the number out for the listen line. It's 401-283-6754. And tell people when they get there to press 1. Now, if you want to call in to the program, the call-in number is 501. Well, now I can't find it. 501-499-6022. That's 501-499-6022. You can listen to leadingedgeradio.com. And I would like to remind everybody, we have a YouTube site that goes up. Alden puts it up within hours of the show. And that you can go to YouTube to Larry Nichols Live. And people can go there and view. Now, guys, what I want to talk about today is, I just saw, or I was just watching this press conference again in Orlando. And I take a little bit of offense because here was this attorney general, here was the governor, here was all of these people. And it sounded like they were getting, we want to thank this group. We want to thank this group. It's like they were winning an Academy Award. Number one, before they go passing out all this praise and all of these things, somebody needs to remind them that I don't think it went well. Now, aftermath, yes, maybe they pulled in and maybe they did help. But I don't believe the system worked to protect us, the people. It certainly didn't in that occasion. Today, I asked y'all yesterday to call Donald Trump's campaign headquarters, and many of you did. Many of you did, but we're going to keep it up. And I would ask everybody today to offer this program today on YouTube at Larry Nichols Live on YouTube. Because today I want to do the program and I want to talk to Donald Trump. I would like to talk to him or his staff or whomever. So, folks, if you would, allow me today to make this program be a talk with Donald Trump. And I am going to do what I would do where he's sitting, right here across from me. First off, let me say that this sounds horrible, what I'm about to tell you. It sounds horrible. You see, the events that have taken place in Orlando and the actions of a Muslim against the people in that club, gay community, whatever you want to call them, that is things to come. This is not a one-time deal. This is not something that we'll look back on forever and remember. We may remember it. Certainly the lives lost, the people wounded and affected immediately by it, they will, of course. But already you see that the young child being eaten or whatever by the alligator in Florida has sort of yanked it down a bit from the news. And as days go on, it will get further and further into history. So why am I telling you that? Well, Mr. Trump, I'm telling you that because I want you to know. I don't mean to sound cold or callous, but this event should be used by you and your campaign. You should use it to help save America, to help save lives. Don't let this be a flash in the pan. This has got to be something that helps. Now, the Democrats today, they're today filibustering in the Senate, doing just what we know they do. They're out there making this a gun control issue. And they're using the loss of these lives and the sadness and the fear. They're using it. Well, We sort of have to do that ourselves. And I don't, again, say in the matter of good taste, it may sound distasteful, but it is the truth, what I'm going to tell you. Right now, because of this event, the American people are probably more keenly aware of the Islamic terrorism that's coming to America than they have been for some time. This one, Obama and the ilk have not been able to discard his workplace violence or some other excuse. This one stands out to most people as an obvious terrorist attack. Now, Mr. Trump, I would point out as you're speaking that it's incredible that Obama, our black Muslim president, I believe he's Muslim. Don't you say it, I believe it. But he is still fighting using the word or term, and as a matter of fact, to chastise you for using it, Islamic terrorism, fundamentalist Islamic terrorism. He just refuses to use it. But in this case, you should point out to the people of America that, my word, not once, but twice, this guy was turned into the FBI, and they investigated him because of his links to being, his workers, co-workers, and others saying this guy was going nuts, only to be let off. And then the thing that's incredible is not once, not twice, but 3 different times, Mr. Trump, this guy called the police during the event and told them that he was in support of ISIS and the bombers in Boston, et cetera, et cetera. He said it himself. And for the media and for Obama and Hillary and all of them to claim, we're not sure yet that it's terrorism connected, or certainly not connected to any foreign terrorist group. My God, what more does it take? What have we got to do to prove that the fundamentalist Islamic terrorists are here, coming here, and want to kill us? Mr. Trump, use this. Use this time that will pass. Use this time while people are keenly aware, and let's use it to help us save our country. I said it yesterday, and Mr. Trump, I'm going to say it again today, if you were listening to me, and I know he's not, but if he were. What we see today by Obama bringing in what he claims to be 10,000 Syrian refugees into this country. Most are men, some 80% are men, and they are young, so they're of the age bracket that you would find young radicals. We do not know anything about them, generally speaking. But you see, this would be the same to me. Imagine President Roosevelt during World War II and him inviting 10,000 Nazis into this country. 10,000. You see, in World War II, during that period, the Nazis, Hitler and the Nazis, they were wanting to go to war, but there were a goodly number, maybe not a majority of Germans in general, they didn't want to go to war with anybody. And they didn't want to be a part of this Nazi movement, but they were coerced into doing it, and they were scared to do it, so they had to do it. But would it not been crazy for Roosevelt to say, well, since some of these Nazis, I tell you what, they're Nazis, but these are good Nazis, and we want them to come here, so then we bring in 10,000 Nazis. No, we wouldn't have done it. He would have been impeached. He'd have been thrown out. Well, here we are. Here we are. We're bringing in 10,000 Syrian refugees. Why? How can that be similar to the Nazis during World War II? Let me tell you, there's one thing common with these 10,000 Syrian refugees. Do you know what it is? They follow Islam, the laws of Islam, Sharia law. They are followers of Islam. Now, I'm going to tell you something that, again, is going to sound Islamophobic, if you want to call it that. I don't care what people call me. I want to be able to speak straightforward and tell that which I believe to be true. Look, the Democrats are trying to get rid of guns. I assure you all, Mr. Trump, you know this, I think. Getting rid of guns ain't going to solve anything. There are more gunshot deaths on the weekend, generally in Chicago, Illinois, than there are in Afghanistan or Iraq. And there they've got the toughest gun laws there are. Boston bombers, what are you going to do? Outlaw pressure cookers? Outlawing the weapon means you blame this weapon. The weapon of choice is not the answer. If you want to get rid of something that is the essential item, I mean, the bare essential, if you want to get down to it, what is the common denominator? What is that fundamental thing consistent with these terrorist things? Fort Hood, Orlando, Santa, wherever that was in California. What is consistent there with all of them? You know what it is? It's not the gun. It's the Quran. That's right. It's the Quran. You see, that is how people get radicalized. It comes from the Quran. That's where it comes from. So if you want to stop it, if you want to go to the core and stop these killings, that's where you need to look. Well, then you say, but you can't do that. You can't do that because we in America, we're free and people can worship what they want to worship, the way they want to worship. Now, that works for Muslims and Buddhists and everybody else. Don't work so well for Christians, but that's the way it is right now. We got to change that. But if you want to quit dancing around and you want to identify the one thing that is consistent with all of these killings, it is the Quran. Moreover, it is Islam. It is Islam. Well, so therefore, if I were king, which I'm not, if I were president, which I will not be, and I wanted to stop beyond any shadow of any doubt the killings, and I want to get rid of some fundamental thing that I believe to be the general cause of all of it, it'd be the Quran and the worshiping of Islam, because that's where it all comes from. And then you got homegrown terrorists. Where does that come from? Comes from what? When they get involved with what? When they get involved at their mosque or on the internet or wherever, when they get involved with Islam, the teachings of Islam, and getting involved with the Quran, guess what happens, folks? They turn into these monsters. So the answer is clear. Get rid of the Quran, but you can't do that. You can't do that. So if you can't do that, then what on earth can we possibly do to save our nation and to save our people? And you know what, folks? This connects not only to terrorism, but it connects to our economy. It not only connects to terrorism, our economy, but to our schools, for our children, to our health care, all of it. It all connects with this one thing, Mr. Trump, that can be done. Can. And that is going back to states' rights. States' rights, 10th Amendment. Now, I know many of you, and you're probably sick of hearing it from me as well, Trump, from all the things you've heard about me. I know you're probably sick of hearing it, but I am speaking true. I am speaking true. Because you see, if a state would take back the power entrusted to it from our founding fathers, if it would reclaim that power and those rights and that sovereignty, then a state can set up its own terrorism task force, anti-terrorism task force at the state level, at the county level, at the city level, and you can have people locally involved in making their own communities and people safe. All right. We've got a caller about to come on, but I want to finish this, if I may. So do you understand that? Get back to states' rights. And then the state can set up local systems to protect the people. Now with that, let me do one thing before I go to Bill. Folks, it's time for the first commercial. I just want to say, I need your help. You know, I have to have the money to get the treatment, so I'm not going to waste a lot of your time. But I am going to tell you today, the program's pretty packed, so I need to move off of it. Folks, I need your help. Go to PayPal. And when you get there, go to Nichols Live at AOL.com. Help me, please. Somebody ding the bell. Now, let's go. Bill, are you there?
Yes, Larry, I'll be putting another $20 in the mail today. I hope you got it.
Thank you.
My last one.
I did. Thank you, Bill.
Great. Listen, the big fear is also them, Obama and the Muslims infiltrating our police departments and military, and it's called political jihad, isn't it?
Yes.
And so they're infiltrating our police departments, SWAT teams. Think about it. I mean, also like in Europe right now, they're forcing the kids to go to these camps where they teach the Muslim kids, males, to flirt with the white European females, and they teach the girls to go along with it.
Right.
And they're trying to breed out the white race.
They are. Now, Bill, what they're doing with the police is called a Strong Cities Network. I think that's what it's called. And it's a part of the UN where they bring people in to our local, state, county law enforcement and plant UN people there. Strong Cities Network's what it's called.
And so we can be looking forward to these SWAT teams with Muslims in the SWAT teams. And they're going to be knocking people's doors down to take their guns.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, look, I don't know why anybody would even believe that in Conway, Arkansas, where I live, that I need UN people working with my police department. I just don't. Do you?
I think there's a lot of people, patriotic Christian people, if they find out that SWAT teams got these jihadi Muslims going around knocking people's doors down, they're just not going to put up with it. There's got to be a line in the sand somewhere, and I suspect that's it.
Bill, I'm going to give you today that line in the sand, and I'm going to give it to Donald Trump if somebody will get him to listen to this. If you got anything, if Mr. Trump's listening, if you got anything you want to say to Mr. Trump directly, assuming he might listen to this, what would you say to Donald Trump right now?
Right now, I would say for him to continue on with the program that he initially came in with, and don't be given in to any back down or compromise. Just be strong and head forward like he was before. Don't be trying to compromise his message. He's got to be just as strong now as he was before, and also donate to Larry Nichols medical help Larry Nichols with his medical paying his medical bills so he can help fight Hillary.
Well, Bill, thank you for that.
I'll let you go.
Well, thanks, my brother. And just so that you know, Mr. Trump, I don't want your money. I want you to help Bill and I save this country. This country is that precious to us. Please help us save our land. Bill, thank you, my brother.
They're already destroying Europe. They're destroying Europe completely, all of Western Europe. They're destroying the white race because the white race is the race that is going to fight all of this. It's the white race that's going to resist all of this. All the other races give in.
You know, Bill,
this is how they're going to take over the world.
And let's say this, folks. Now, Mr. Trump, if you're listening, it sounds awfully racial what Bill's saying. white race, white race. Let me tell you, the white average American, male, female, the average white American person is the one that is discriminated against at all levels. We have no protection, none. We're not a protected class, you know, Bill. We're not.
I know. We're the ones that came up. I mean, all of you know, God bless the world through us. So all the science and medical technology and all the engineering and astronomy and sailing vessels and jets and planes and you know, everything came from us. The universities, the castles, everything. It all came from us and mostly from us. And now they're saying that we're the bad people.
Yeah, and remember this, folks, all of you. Please remember. Our 10 Commandments was thrown out of the state Supreme Court building in Alabama. I'm just using that as an example. During Christmas, all of our nativity scenes are thrown off government properties. But I'm going to tell you, if the Muslims wanted something put in, it would be there. It would be there. All right, Bill, got to run. Let me get on to thank you. Now, folks, here again, you're welcome to call in, and we're going to just do this as if Mr. Trump was listening. Now, back to what I was saying about states' rights. That is what our founding fathers gave us. Now, there was talk this morning. I was talking with Carol Chaplin, and she has asked me for some time about, do we need a constitutional convention? You know, a lot of people are pushing that. A lot of people are saying we need to have a constitutional convention, and then let's clean up some of the things that are out of whack. To that, I say no. I say no. We don't need a constitutional convention. I know some of you, many of you probably are for it. But let me tell you why I say what I do. If I thought we could have a constitutional convention where we could address the issues that are near and dear to all of us, that would be one thing. But you see, if you have a constitutional convention, things that are near and dear and important to us foundationally, the bad news is the liberals are going to come in with tons and tons of constitutional changes that they want. And it will end up in one of the biggest messes you've ever seen. And even if, for example, we wanted to institute some constitutional revision, folks, it would take 7 to 10 years before it could ever actually be implemented, come to fruition. Now, this country does not have that long. We're not going to be here at the rate we're going. We're not. So then, what is it that we can do, Larry, or Mr. Trump? What is it then that we could do that could save us in time before our time runs out? States' rights. States' rights. Because you see, we don't need another constitutional measure. We don't. We got them right here now. All we got to do is just get back to the Constitution. And to get back to the Constitution, Mr. Trump, what you need to advocate, if you are real, if you are serious, you need to drive us and drive this point home to the people that the power should be stripped from Washington, D.C., and it should be put right back square where our founding fathers intended for it to be, and that is right back here at home at our state level. We pick those things that affect us. We pick our school system and the curriculum. We pick what people in this state will tolerate and what they will not. And the system is quite simple. You take something, for example, this anti-terrorist law that I talked about. Get your state legislature to get it on the ballot, have the people vote. If the people vote that they want this statewide, local terrorism fighting instrument, then they vote for it. If they vote for it, the legislature signs it and ratifies it, and then the governor signs it. Then it's got to go to court to be tested, and it will. It will go to the lower state court and then to the Supreme Court at the state level. But when it gets there, if it still holds up, then it's done. You stay out of federal court. And under this Terrorism Act, what you do, since we can't do away with the Quran. We can't. We cannot make the Muslims throw their Quran and burn them like Hitler did. Can't do that. But I tell you what we can do. We can understand, just like America did during World War II, that we were in war. We were at war with Germany and Japan. And being at war with Germany meant that, yes, there were Germans here in America, German Americans of that day, Japanese Americans of that day. But you had no way of knowing which ones were loyal to America or which ones were loyal to Hitler or Japan, the emperor. You didn't know. So what they did is they did internment camps. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We're not even asking for that. What we're asking for, however, is here's what should happen. At the county level, every Muslim in the city, in the county, in the state should register that they're followers of Islam. Why? Why? That sounds really bad. Let me tell you. We know that the terrorist movement from ISIS is coming because of followers of Islam. The problem is we don't know which of the followers of Islam are peaceful and which ones aren't. But at least we need to know who follows that religion that could become radicalized. Number one. Number two, we need to take the mosque and we need to overtly and covertly monitor them. We do. We've got to make them understand that we are monitoring every word in that mosque, because that's where these people, the young people, are being radicalized. It's coming out of the mosque. Now you go and ask the imam at the mosque, I say, well, we don't teach stuff like that. Well, somebody is. Somebody is. So, this law, albeit harsh, the only thing that's going to change between Mr. Trump, when this law that we propose, or at least most of the people listening to me would like for you to make a part of your campaign, the only difference in this law today and in some number of months or years, when we are forced to implement something like this, if it's not too late, which it may very well be, it's just how many lives are going to be lost until we wake up. So, Mr. Trump, it all lies in states' rights. You're the one. If I talk about states' rights, or if this audience, or Alex Jones, Jeff Rentz, or anybody else, if we talk about states' rights, great. To our group, the people that we communicate with, they know about it. But that's not exposing it to the whole country. You make it a part of your campaign, and everybody in America will learn and understand what the true meaning of states' rights means. Why state sovereignty was placed into our form of government. Why the 10th Amendment was actually put there. Mr. Trump, you're it. You're it. And the states' rights concept of fixing our country, folks, that is the fastest, in real time, the best, in reality, way to protect us, both at the level of terrorism attacks, as well as our economic situation and educational situation and medical situation. Let the people rule themselves. You see, Mr. Trump, what nobody really thinks about, except people like us in my audience and others, is today Washington, D.C. makes all the laws, runs everything. Even the president makes laws and runs everything. Even the Supreme Court makes laws and runs everything. And you know what? We don't know who them people are. We didn't elect the lobbyists that tell the Congress what to do. We didn't elect the staffers that get to work with the lobbyists and make big bucks and then tell our elected officials which way to go on this, that, or the other. We don't even know them. And yet they're making laws for us. Get it back to the state. Put the power back to the state. And if you're president and you are a real president, you are a serious president that intends to do what you say, make this country great again, then my God, Mr. Trump, do that which has made us great. Put the power out of Washington, D.C. It does not need to be in Washington, D.C. It needs to be brought back home to the people. All right, I was told it was time for a second commercial. Now, folks, I'm going to check. Let me see. Nothing on PayPal. Are you there, please? We've got to raise about $300. Please, are you there? Somebody ding it. Help me today, please. Help. Have I gotten what? Yeah, as I was asked by Alden, we got the numbers from Greg. It's around 7,300. Wednesday's a bad day, so if we're at 7,300 on Wednesday, that's something. And Mr. Trump, 7,300 probably don't sound like much to you. But if you knew this army the way I know this army, you will understand. These are not 7,300 regular old people. These are not 7,300 conspiracy nuts. This is not 7,300 Americans that don't know what to do. We are many times our number in strength. Many times our number in strength. And Mr. Trump, you would do well to do what I do and listen to these 7,300 people. And the number will grow. It truly will. Truly will grow. Please, ding PayPal, folks. I'm not talking about it and begging for it like I normally do because I do not want it to monopolize this program from what we need to be saying to Mr. Trump if he would just listen to it. But that does not lessen the fact that I got to get it. So if you will, can you please, somebody ding it right now so at least I know you're out there. Please. Do it now. So, Mr. Trump, we're back. We're back to where we began. We know we have serious problems in this country as it relates to terrorism. We know that. We know we have enemies that are not at the gate. They're inside the gate. We know that. We know that gun control and laws restricting firearms don't work. We know that. How do we know that? Let's just take Chicago as an example. Toughest gun laws, the most killings. We know these things. We know that for whatever reason, Barack Hussein Obama and Hillary Rodham Clinton, we know that their loyalties more lie with Islam than they do with the average American Christian moral citizen. They just have nothing for us. We know also that Hillary, when she gets in office, we have not seen corrupt yet, like we will see. We know that. How do we know that? We know that from Benghazi and Whitewater and a history, a long history of those people being scumbags. I know because I was with them. Mr. Trump, I know our nation's under attack. I know everything is coming down on we the people. Everything from all kinds of directions, from jobs to safety to et cetera, et cetera. What we have to do, what we must do right now if we're to be successful, is we've got to take the one thing we have right now that can help us save our country. And I'm going to lay it out real plain for you, Mr. Trump. That one thing is you. You. Now, I do not ask you to be Mr. Wizard. I do not ask you to be the genius and know everything, et cetera, et cetera. I'm not saying you got to be that, because and I'm not saying for damn sure you got to be politically correct, because you don't. That's part of why we're in the mess we're in. But here's why you are critical to saving this nation. You, Mr. Trump. Right now, if you take Fox News Network, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, all of the conservative programming on 24-hour news and all of the internet radio and regular radio, if you take all of that, put it together, shake it up, and you know what? It ends up being about 2 to 4% of the voting population are there. 2 to 4%, that's it. So if every one of us in the conservative media, alternative media, if every one of us started talking about it and talking about it and talking about it, you realize we'd only be singing to the choir that already knows. That's what we would be doing. We'd be talking to people that already know. And the majority of people in America that do not know what on earth we're talking about, guess what? They still won't know what we're talking about unless one thing happens. You talk about it. You see, when you talk about it, here's what's going to happen, Mr. Trump. The media is going to attack you. Oh, yeah, the media is going to eat you up. They're going to be all over you. They truly, truly are. You're not going to know which ends up. But you know what? You can defend it. The things you're saying are true. The things that you would be talking about are real. And you can show how it connects to their jobs. It does. States' rights. You can do things at the state level to protect the state's economy. You don't have to follow suit with the federal, because at the federal level, the only thing that happens at the federal level are the federal politicians making a killing off the lobbyists that represent people that have private interest. They want the money. At the state level, you can do things to protect your state, your county, your city. Mr. Trump, it's there in the Constitution. If you don't know, look it up. It's the 10th Amendment. And somebody's going to say, well, yeah, if I live in a state like Arkansas, and for example, they implement getting tough on Muslims during this time that we are in a war footing. It's not forever, but at least while we're under attack, we need to know where the Muslims are. Who are they? What they're saying in these mosques. For people in Arkansas, if that were to pass here and people say, well, I don't like that, and they passed it and the courts upheld it, but I still don't like it. Hey, move. Move to California. There will be states that under the 10th Amendment choose not to get involved with anything at a state and local level to defend against terrorism. There'll be states that do that. People can move to them if they choose. It's about freedom. You're free to move. You're free to go somewhere else. All right, let's see what I got. Okay. From Karen. Oh, thank you. Oh, I know who this is. I got 150 from Karen. So if you're out there, please, folks, help us. Help us. We need about that much or more. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not a PayPal thingy. Anyway, that's not what that is. That is a person trying to get a bow, and they're just notifying me that they're trying to get the bow. Don't come from me. So I take it back, guys. That money's not mine. That's for a bow. It doesn't come to me. I get nothing. Somebody just messed up. So we're back to nothing. Somebody ding PayPal, will you please? Ding it. Mr. Trump, hear us. Please hear me. No man that you can talk to, Mr. Trump, no man that you can talk to can tell you more about the Clintons than I will. Now, there's people that know more, and there are people that know as much, but they're not going to tell it to you. They're not. And then, in accordance with the history, Mr. Trump, look, Bill Clinton mentioned me. He mentioned me poorly. He didn't talk good about me in his own memoirs, but I'm there. So that should show you the level of impact that one little guy that ain't nothing for nothing was able to have on him by keeping him down and got him impeached. He was impeached in a great part due to what I had done with all the scandals that you know about, Mr. Trump, because most of the scandals you know about, guess what, Mr. Trump? They came from me. I know you've got this friend, Roger Stone, and he's done a terrific book talking about the scandals of the women. The majority of the scandals in his book, his co-guy riding with him, Robert, whatever his name was, they dealt with me and got it from me. No man that you can talk to can help you know them the way I will, number one. Number two, no man, including you, are going to be able to beat their system when it comes to the election. And I'm not being ugly, I'm just telling you. You've got to be respectful of what these people are capable of doing in an election. Please be respectful of it, because I'm telling you, you haven't seen anything yet. Now, you have tasted it. You have felt it. You have felt the sting of the Clinton machine. You have felt the sting of a media that's in love with them and hates you. But you haven't even begun to see the full effect. You haven't. You've got to go through what we set up originally when I was with the Clintons. We set up this minefield that you've got to go through. And if you're going to get at one of the Clintons, you got to go through this minefield and get to the other side, or you can't even knock them in the head. You got to go through this minefield. Very few people, Mr. Trump, know that minefield like I do. Very few. Do you want to win? Do you really mean what you say when you say you want to win and you want to make America great again? Do you? Then I ask you to listen to these 7,300 people that are here with me right now. They've been with me a good while, most. Hear them. And for these 73, there's 100 times that many out there that are not heard from every day. Are you there? Mr. Trump, do you want to win? I just got word I've got 100, the money we got coming in, 100 did come in from Elizabeth. Elizabeth, thank you so much. Thank you, my dear. Now, what I want everybody to do while we've got about 18 minutes, call 501-499-6022. If any of you want to make it short statement to Mr. Trump, if he is listening to this on YouTube or wherever, please call in now, 501-499-6022, and say to Mr. Trump what you would like to say. Now, keep it nice. I mean, don't cuss and raise hell with him, number one. And number two, don't ask him for money, because I don't want money from Mr. Trump. I don't want to get a dime from Trump. I don't. I do not want money from him. I want him to save our country. I want him to help us. Now, just told by Alden, while people hopefully will be calling in, 501-499-6022. This is your chance, hypothetically, to talk to Mr. Trump. It's time for the third commercial. We have gotten $100. Nobody has dinged the PayPal other than Elizabeth. If you're out there, dear God, do you want to help? Please, do you want to help? I mean, there's 7,000 of you. $1 a piece would tend to everything we need to have tended to. Please, if you're out there, do it. You go to Nichols, you go to PayPal, and it's nicholslive@aol.com, or you can go to Larry Nichols, Conway, Arkansas, Facebook, and there you can find a button. If you're not a part of PayPal, you can use your credit card, or debit card, or whatever. And as I understand from Alden, when you go to Larry Nichols Live, that site, it's got, I'm sorry, what? Okay. When you go to our Larry Nichols Live YouTube site, Alden has it set up where there's a donate button there. Let's go to Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen, are you there?
Hey, Mary Ellen. Hey, Larry. I'd like to say to Mr. Trump, we are doing our best to support Larry and keep him in treatment so that he can help you strategize to win this election. Thank you.
Mary Ellen, thank you. Do you, folks, Mary Ellen has helped me, and I can't tell you how much, but she has, and you just know you are so appreciated. By the way, Mary Ellen, a friend of ours, Miss Dixie, y'all know about Dixie. We've talked about her. She's called in and stuff. Dixie is having a medical test today, and she's scared. So everybody, please say a prayer for Dixie, all of us. Right? Wish her well in this test. Thank you, Mary Ellen.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. Anybody else? Anybody else got something to say to Trump? 501-499-6022. He probably won't listen to it. He probably won't hear this. But we can sure try. I don't think it would hurt him in his busy day to take a little bit of time to hear what we have to say. And by the way, folks, you might order all of you, call him today. Again, a lot of you called. We'll call again, and this time on their voicemail when you get it, or if you get somebody, tell them to go and listen to today's program, where I actually talk to Trump as if he were here. Please. I'll tell you another thing we ought to do. And I probably shouldn't do this, but I will. We're at the point where I wish you would get in touch with Alex Jones, all of you. Email him. Don't say I sent you, but just email him or whatever you do. And try to get him to get me on a little more frequently. He seems to have Roger Stone on every day. We're to the point where I need to be putting out things every day that can go to a bigger audience. I mean, albeit I love us and our group, our army, we're going to make the changes, but we need to be getting the word out. We grow here when I go there. So you might want to email or let Alex Jones know, say, have Larry on, let him help try to win this thing. Alex is very concerned about solutions. He truly is. There's only one solution, and we've given it right here. One solution that A, makes sense, B, can be done hopefully in a timely manner, and C is achievable, period, because of the timing of this election and the uniqueness of a Trump candidacy. Now, does nobody else have anything to say to Donald Trump? I don't want to put you on the spot. Well, Mr. Trump, I'm sorry, what, Alden? Okay, Alden said nobody else is there. And I know, folks, I'm asking you to do something kind of hard. Talk to a person that's not really there in a hypothetical situation. I know that's a little crazy. But these times are calling for us to do crazy stuff. Please, we have got to save this country or we have lost it all. I just got from Terry 20, and Terry, we're getting closer to the day. Now, this is Terry Kelly. I don't think he would object to me saying his name, but this is Terry Kelly, who's with this militia group, the largest in the country. And Terry and his people are set up to help protect me as this thing gets a little bit closer. Terry, we're getting closer, buddy. Not there yet, but we're getting closer. And your group support and protection is much appreciated. Believe me, much appreciated. So here we are, coming up on the last 10-minute stretch, the last 10 minutes. And Mr. Trump, I've left out one thing that I wanted to hold in reserve till the last part of the meeting with you. Mr. Trump, I can only tell you that if you know anything about me, you know that I am not a great Christian kind of guy. Well, we just got $35 from Jerry. Jerry, thank you so much. Thank you, buddy. That puts us at 155. I'm not a great Christian guy. All right. I'm not a great Christian person, Mr. Trump. I try to be. But one thing you need to do, which is a commitment we've all made, you need to go to the scripture. I cannot tell you that scripture, the name of it. But if we will get on our knees, those of us that are called by God, those of us that know the Lord, we get on our knees, pray, ask for forgiveness, seek his face, he will heal our land. We've all done it. We hope you will. All right, I have on the phone Luden. Luden, are you there, buddy? From Israel.
Yes, shalom from Jerusalem, my brother.
How are you, my friend? Thank you for calling again.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's always a privilege and a pleasure to hear the other side of the world, as we know that many things are unfolding, not just here in the Middle East, but we have just witnessed what happened in Orlando a few days ago, and this is just the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, by the way, Luden, I failed to tell you yesterday, but a friend that I have had for, good heavens, 20, 30 years is Benjamin Netanyahu. I knew him through another life. What do you think about him? Now, there's what I think about him as a friend, and then there's what I think about him as, you know, as a leader. And since I'm not in Israel, I don't make that call about his leadership skills. But what do you think?
Well, you know, many profess to know this and that, but the bottom line is that my people here in Israel are going through many difficult times. You know, we've been under, 7, 8 months of terror attacks. Not too long ago, something happened in Tel Aviv where they disguised themselves as Orthodox Jews and opened automatic weapons and killed X amount of Jews, innocent people that were just out having a good time. Now, are we talking about Donald Trump?
I'm sorry? Yeah, we're talking about, we're almost out of time. Is there something you from Israel would like to say for Donald Trump? If he's listening to this program, what would you say to him directly from Israel?
I will say to Mr. Trump that he needs to take a stand, as he already has, against these so-called radical Islamists who are already sleeping in America. Many sleeper cells are getting ready to wake up. It is time to deport all these people, and I hope and I pray that he will be the next president of the United States, and I will be campaigning for him here in Jerusalem. I'll be asking the Jews the real questions, because we know, and I know, that this Hillary Clinton has a lot of skeletons in her closet, not saying what all the monies and the hundreds of millions that she has raised via the Saudis and the Qataris and so on. And she already stated that she has $1 billion for her campaign.
Right.
Where did she get this money from?
Well, Luden, let me say this. I need to, because we're out of time. But folks, Luden, when is your program fixing to start? Your new radio program on Leading Edge Radio, folks, which will come right after this one.
I stopped back in November, so hopefully I will be on pretty soon. I just got to work out the details. I'll be live from Jerusalem reporting on the conflict in the Middle East, especially in Israel, and hopefully in the next coming weeks or so. But if and when you'd like to have me as a guest, don't hesitate to call me or get in touch with me. It's all free of charge.
Well, let's do this, Luden. I think, folks, what excites me about Luden is it gives us, our little group, our army here, it gives us direct communication with someone giving us absolute honest intelligence from what's going on in the Middle East. So, Luden, yes, I would love to have you back. Like to devote a program where we can go through and make our audience understand what Israel goes through every day. You know, I have been under Katyusha rocket attacks. They're scary. They're scary. And I cannot imagine y'all going through 18,000 of them thus far this year, or however many you've had. Those things rain terror.
Absolutely. And the latest reports that are coming out that I'm gathering is that there might be possibly a war with Lebanon. This Hassan Nasrallah, people don't know this, but he has over 10,000 rockets aimed at Israel that can hit any city, and they're funded by the Iranians. So,
sure.
Something to be looking to. And, of course, we know what's happening in Syria. Over 300,000 Arabs have been killed. We know that already Hezbollah is already there helping the Assad regime, and the Obama administration has been quiet about that, and Iran continues to fund this Assad, and of course we know what's happening over in Iran. All these
we've got to run, buddy. We are flat out of time, but I will be getting in touch with you probably later this week. Well, this week's nearly over. Early next week, I'd like to have you to come on and give the audience a true briefing on what's going on in Israel, if you would be kind enough to come on.
No problem. Just let Dr. Martin know the details, and he will call me or either email me.
That'll work. All right, Luden, thank you. We've got to run. Sorry, we're just out of time. Thanks, my brother.
God bless you.
Thank you. All right, folks, we're down 3 minutes. Shalom. This thing's over. This program's over. And, guys, we need your help. Chris said that was Mr. Trump, that's 2 Chronicles 7 through 14, Mr. Trump. 2 Chronicles 7 through 14. That's what you need to read, and we need to do. All right, folks, we're still missing about 150 short of the mark. And we got a minute and a half, I was just told by Alden. We're a little over 150 short, so please, if you're out there, this is my bewitching hour where I got 1 hour to inform the people whether I'm going to come or not. So please, if you can, help. And know this, we must all stand behind Donald Trump. I am not saying he's perfect. Mr. Trump, if you're listening, you need to know I do not claim you to be perfect. I have no reason to put that on you. It's just you're what we've got. You're all we've got. If you'll stay true to us, this audience will stay true to you. This I know. I've seen them. I know. So, with that, folks, today's Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. Help me save the country. Let's save the country, you and I. It's up to us, nobody else. And Mr. Trump, thank you for your time if you've listened to this. So with that, folks, I'm fixing to say bye for today. And good Lord willing, Creek Don't Rise. We'll hook up again tomorrow. But this is Nichols Live, and I am Larry Nichols. And let's just hope. Somewhere over the rainbow,
land that I've heard of, one in a lullaby.